Hello everyone, welcome to the Toronto Business Journal. I'm your host Santosh Chris, and today I have an interview with Donovan Surduk of Donovan Masonry. Donovan Masonry is an Ottawa-based masonry company basing its proven reputation on indisputable facts with over 44 years of impeccable masonry service, punctuality, craftsmanship, and never using substandard materials to win any contract. A superior masonry job does not have to mean unreasonable pricing. So we're going to be joining Donovan on site now, and we're going to hear from him, and also we're going to get some behind the scenes footage of all the work that goes behind a masonry job, which is quite fascinating, especially given that it's pretty much winter time now and he's still at it. So here's Donovan. Welcome to the show, Donovan, and thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today.
Hey, thank you, Slenny. It's nice to be here. Not often do you go ahead and get time to go ahead and get on camera and do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, but here we are.
No problem. Can you tell us, Donovan, what made you get into the masonry as a young man and how you developed your company and skills over the years, and if you had any mentors?
Well, my basically father kind of led the way. He said, hey, if you're going to do something, you don't want to stay in school, do something with your hands. Learn an apprenticeship in some trade. You know, once you learn a trade, you go ahead and get your ticket, you can go anywhere in the world. And so true. You don't even have to speak the language. Money is a universal language.
That's very good because, a lot of students are getting into debt, like in the college and stuff, but it seems that your industry, they're you can get experience on the job and learn as you go. Is that something that you would recommend?
That's right. You start at apprentice from year one, and as you progress, you keep getting your wage increases. And what's nice about it, if you're better than somebody else, you get rewarded like anything. I mean, people get rewarded for what they do. And, trades are very good. They pay very well. $40, $45 an hour is, a very good wage for a individual. Some laborers start out at $25 an hour, and there's just so much work around. There's not enough of people around. I think they said a little while ago we're short 330,000 tradesmen in Canada right now, and within 10 years they expect over 1 million. People just aren't getting into it anymore. Don't know why, but they're going to have to figure it out. Too many trade schools are being closed. And again, I mean, when you look around, the building industry is taking off like crazy. Somebody has to maintain these houses and buildings, and there's going to be a problem. If they don't watch out, there's going to be so few. It's going to be like a monopoly on everything. People are just going to say, contractors say, I want so much money for this, and they're going to have to pay for it.
That's really good. So it's very good for our young viewers who are like thinking about what career to get in without getting into too much debt, and plus it's very hands-on and
yes,
very interesting.
Exactly. And they have to get this out of their mind. It's demeaning. So many people think when you're working with your hands that you're a lower class individual. And, there are a lot of people who are wearing ties would very quickly take that tie off and make the money some tradesmen are making. Wow. Just because you're dirty doesn't mean you're living dirty.
Oh no, like a farmer, like has to do the dirt all the time to produce the food that we eat. You're building the houses and the chimneys and all these things where would we live without you guys, right? Doing all the hard work.
Well, exactly. I mean, in the summertime when someone's air conditioner goes out, they're panicking.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just so hot. And what happens if that guy's not around anymore?
There you go.
Or your plumber, for your toilets. I mean, we take for granted some of the luxuries we have without even thinking of it.
So true.
People didn't even think of how important the garbage men were. And when there was a strike years ago, garbage was just piling up in Toronto. And then people start to realize, wow, these are essential services. Guys, get in the trades.
Especially now with a lot of other businesses closing down since the COVID and everything, but your business is still going up, like the tradesmen.
The reason I stayed with Restoration is because if things as far as money tightened up, there was layoffs for the government. They're not going to go ahead and buy new houses, but if your chimney breaks, you're not getting any ventilation, your hot water tanks go, you have to repair this stuff. If water's coming in through your roof, if water's coming through your walls, you need to repair it. You don't need to buy another $800,000 home.
That's very true. Now, I see on your website you've mentioned you do scaffold erections, and that's how you've been accident-free for over 41 years, which is amazing, especially given your industry of working on rooftops. Can you elaborate on this and why you never use ladders and other safety measures?
I'd never go ahead and use a ladder. I mean, occasionally there is a time when you have to, when you may only have 2 brick under the eaves. But other than that, you always want a solid platform. And when you're working on a ladder, only one guy can give you production. And sometimes when you're there by yourself, ladders can kick out and they're not stable. And it's just something that a craftsman never does. With my scaffold, we go ahead and do it ourselves, so we know it's done properly. Anytime you have men working in the air, you want to make sure everything is safe. And when it's safe, they feel comfortable and you get a good job.
Okay, thank you for sharing with us. That's very true. Like, I'm glad that that's how you stay in business, and also that's how you keep your workmen safe, which is both go hand in hand, right?
You have to. And with all the safety laws now, if you ever did something wrong, one simple accident because of being neglect, it can cost you everything you ever worked for, and it's just not worth it, for a few dollars. If you're in business, don't nickel and dime your business. You invest in it, you get the proper equipment, proper materials, and you simply do what people pay you to do. And again, this is going to be my 45th year coming up, and
wow.
I kind of think I'm doing something right. Unfortunately, you can't please everybody because we're working with so many different personalities. But over the years, we have a pretty good track record, and I'm proud of it.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, Donovan, is your work seasonal, or do you still work during the winter?
Your work is seasonal only if you put limitations on yourself. As you know, you can see behind me, we're making it not seasonal. We have the scaffold completely covered in tarps, and you can see the bubble formation is because there is a heater pumping heat. And I'd like to point out that the heater is outside of the working area. The only thing in the working area is the funnel, which is producing heat. So there's never a chance of inhaling any type of vapors whatsoever. There's still many people today who will put salamanders and different space heaters inside, but it's very dangerous because when you go home at night, you still have to leave these heaters running because you need temperatures of 0 or 32 degrees Fahrenheit so the motor doesn't freeze. And I would feel very, very uncomfortable knowing that there's a flame in the scaffold. And if a storm ever came up and blew the tarps down, that flame is going to go ahead and catch fire. With what we got set up here, it's headache-free. You can go home, you can sleep well, and knowing when you come back, the job's nice and warm and ready to tackle it another day.
That's great to hear that. So you keep it running throughout the year so your business grows as well, and you don't have to
exactly. There are some guys who want to take time off.
Okay.
I prefer not to if we don't have to. I mean, it is a seasonal business for most. Yeah. You have to work very hard. Most will have to work 9 months very hard to make a 12-month income. Because again, as soon as the temperatures start to freeze, you should never be working without the tarp system that you see behind me.
Wonderful. And I'm sure your clients appreciate it very much as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's an old saying, people don't care how much you know, but they know how much you care. Exactly. And it's very easy to see when you have this type of system that they know what you're doing, and right. They may not know how to do the work, but they're smart people that I work for, and they sleep good at night too.
Of course. Can you tell us the kind of services you provide and how much time it usually takes to finish them?
The service I provide is all masonry, everything from foundation up to the chimney. And for example, this job will be about 2.5 weeks. It all varies. I don't do any big work. When I mean big work by commercial, it's just what you see in your average community. Average 3-bedroom bungalow to a 5-bedroom home would take no more than 3 weeks. Brick pointing is the slowest of all because you have to go ahead and remove all the mortar by saw, and then you have to repack or repoint all the mortar joints, and it's done with iron rods. layer after layer. It's very tedious, and it's monotonous, and it's something that you don't have a gun, a power gun, or any type of nozzle, or pressure nozzle, or caulking gun. It's just a very slow trade.
And can you discuss with us any marketing strategies you've used over the years that's helped build your client base and your business overall?
That's a good question. You know, for the average person, when they go to work, they walk into their office or cubicle. That is their office. As soon as I get in my truck and head out to the road and go into a hardware store or talk to anybody, that is my office. And there's an old saying, shy salesmen have skinny kids. Yeah. And it's so true. So I virtually talk to everybody, and because you have to. And when you're responsible for making your own money and for keeping a few other of your men working, it's what you have to do. Little gimmicks like behind me, it says, we only go down chimneys built by Donovan, the safest and finest of all. It's Christmas season, there's Santa Claus. Or I have catalogs delivered. I deliver close to 1 million catalogs a year to the houses. Different flyers. You always have to go ahead and let people know what you're doing. If you don't go to them, they can't come to you. You have to let people know you're still around.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. And that is a very cute Santa Claus thing you got going there. It's definitely it attracts all the people, right? It attracts children, and then they, of course, tell their parents about it, and then there you go, word of mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. And the way I look at it, if the big boys do it, meaning big boys, McDonald's and the Hardee's and Kentucky Fried Chicken, why do they advertise? Why do they go ahead and put the name out? You just have to. It's smart business.
That's a good point. That's how you stay ahead of everybody else.
Exactly.
Wonderful. And can you share with us the most dangerous job you've ever done, and how high was the building?
Well, every job is dangerous, but I mean, I guess back in the 70s, I was up close to 200 feet and on a platform, which is known as a swing stage. But back then, it was just ropes and block and tackle. And I virtually had to go ahead and pull each rope up, go to the right side, go to the left, until I got to my height. Then I'd have to go onto the roof, get my brick, get my mortar, and lower it down. And today, the new generation has it pretty easy. You have electric motors, you have steel cables, and everything is very, very safe. And there are laws to protect people, which is good. I think a lot of the younger guys would be very surprised if you could go back in time and watch how the older generation used to work. We had no say. Many people had no say. You either did the work or, you were replaced. That's how it was. It's sad, but it's a fact.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that information with us. And of course, as important it is to have a good setup and solid work, cleaning up afterwards is just as important. Can you tell us more why a good cleanup is essential and how you are different from most of the other masonry work going on?
I'm very picky with that part. I mean, when I come to a home, I look around, and that's how that house looks and that property looks when we leave. I never go ahead and allow bricks to be hanging on the edge of the boards or boards on the scaffold. Things that can blow off in the wind. It's so true. Common sense isn't common anymore. And it's something where when you start training people, you start that right from the start. Again, a home is the most investment a person's going to go ahead and have. People work 30, 35 years to pay off that house. So, we go ahead and do everything you can to go ahead and protect windows, doors, sweep up daily, and, just do what you're supposed to do.
I'm sure your clients appreciate that a lot as well, because after you've done the work, as you said, they want it like exactly how it was before. I mean, like with the repairs, everything done, but they want it nice and clean. And
that's right. They usually hire a certain individual because they were referred by them.
Right.
And you don't want to let them down. I mean, There's no reason to let them down. Yeah. If you're in a profession to supply a service, just practice what you preach and do it. And very few people do that anymore. And it just shouldn't be that way, but it is.
I'm glad to hear that. And of course, they don't have to pay anything extra. They don't need to hire another cleanup crew to do.
No, that's all part of the job. And We don't throw out those extras at the end. Well, here we're taking scaffold down, and by the way, this is going to be this many dollars for it. Exactly. Once I sign a contract with an individual, it includes a complete job.
I'm really glad to hear that. So, Donovan, how do you stay motivated on a job site that's so physically draining? Is it like coffee, making jokes, or?
That's an easy question to answer. No matter how tired you get, how sore you get, you just think of your family. You think of your wife. And when you got married, I went ahead and did a vow to go ahead and take care of her. And that's what drives me. My kids are all grown up, but there's grandchildren now. So, family is everything. You work your fingers to the bone.
I'm glad to hear that. That's very good. Now, what are the best ways our viewers can reach you and learn more about you and what? And of course, I know you offer a free estimate. Can you tell us what that provides?
Well, they can reach me by just getting on the website www.donovanmasonry.com or 783-1949 area code 613. Mm-hmm. And they go ahead and call. We go ahead and set up the estimates by geographical area. And from that point, we come to the home, go ahead and do a visual inspection, and we don't leave a quote in the mailbox. For me, it's not very, very personal, and it doesn't give you enough time to look the job over. We go ahead and photograph, we'll take pictures, or we'll take videos. So when we're done estimating that day, we take time to look over everything and give you a price. And when we give you price, that is it. You don't get a call back and say, by the way, it's going to be this or it's going to be that. It's all in writing. And when a proposal is accepted, then a contract will follow. And once a contract will follow, you'll be placed on our schedule. And there's usually a 2 to 3 month wait. And a lot of people will say, hey, Don, wow, that's a long time to wait. I've got a guy who can start next week. And what I would like to point out is if somebody can start in a week or two, they're not very busy for a reason. Whether you worked with me or someone else, you want to be put on a waiting list because it shows you they're booked for a reason. I compare it to if you would walk into a restaurant and there's 2 people there. For me, I would leave, go into another one because, again, a good product, good food, whatever the business may be, if you're good at what you're doing, there's a waiting list.
Excellent. And of course, any advice for young people who are interested in getting into your line of work as a career, and what is the best position they can start to gain experience?
Well, that's a very good question. If a young man was thinking of getting to this trade, I would think hard about it. It makes an old man out of you far before your time. Like myself, I need a new hip and new knee, and you have to be willing to work very, very hard. Not knocking my trade, because I've done it all my life. If I was to do it over again, believe it or not, I'd get into electrical work, or I'd get into plumbing work, because in this trade, you're working in weather elements, you're working at dangerous heights, and you're working in a very rapid, fast-paced occupation. Some bricklayers can do 300 brick a day, some can do 500 brick a day, and if you cannot go ahead and keep up, you just can't stay around where you're not producing, and it's a little bit of pressure. So even though, as I just mentioned previously, it's what I raised 3 kids on it, I would think about going into this trade. It's pretty rough.
All right. And so what are your plans, goals, and dreams for the future that are masonry related, or any personal ambitions you may have?
Well, right now I'm just going to go hire myself out and a couple guys, and we're ready and willing to go anywhere in Canada. As long as the person has a beautiful historic place, we'll go ahead and do it. I myself, I'm going to get away from the heavy work. Within 2 or 3 years, I'm turning everything over to the younger guys and let them continue. Donovan Masonry has a good name, and I've got a couple good young men who are very capable of carrying over, and I'll do nothing but the estimates. As I mentioned earlier, I'm 66 now, and to be 70 years old and climbing these heights, I'm pushing it. It's going to hurt to go ahead and get out of something that you like a lot, but hey, as they say, mother time, father time, time is catching up, and it's time for me to sit back and watch the younger guys do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Donovan, for joining us today and sharing with us your experience. I'm sure our viewers will really appreciate all the valuable information that you've provided us. And yeah, anything else you want to add to that, Don?
No, again, as I just mentioned, we're a small company. I used to have 21. I have 3 crews, as mentioned, 2 per crew, and we're willing to go anywhere that we're asked. And hey, thanks for the opportunity to go ahead and talk with you.
No problem, Donovan. Well, thank you so much for watching us today. And this is Santosh Chris interviewing Donovan of Donovan Masonry. And be sure to check out his website at donovanmasonry.com. All right.
Well, as you walk in here, you just see the and feel the heat.
I know, it's incredible. Like outside, it's like, I don't know, 3 degrees, but here it's...
Well, it could be 30 below and it'll feel like this.
Wow.
And as I mentioned before, the safety factor, there's no heat, there's no fire in here, there's no radiant heat, where if these collapse, it would catch a home on fire. This is just your ventilation for the heat.
Okay.
And all it is heat, no flame whatsoever. Okay. And that literally stays on 24 hours a day. And if you would come over here,
okay, it
operates the same way the furnace in your home operates. Wow. If you want to get a little bit warmer, right here we have the controller.
Okay.
And if you want to set it for 40, 60, or 80, there's your thermostat right here. So we can adjust according to what we want.
That's incredible.
As far as building scaffold and a few safety items, these here are called screw jacks.
Right.
And if we wanted to come up 1 or 2 inches or a foot, we simply can go ahead and turn those around. You'll notice on many other jobs where if one side of the scaffold is low, contractors will put 2 and 3 and 4 boards to make up the height. And that's so dangerous because your scaffold starts to rock and get wobbly.
Right.
It's something you just don't do.
Okay.
And these are called outriggers. So you can go ahead and work freely without working behind this, and it increases speed just so much. It's night and day. These little clips right here are to prevent the scaffold from ever coming apart when you're on top. These are called pigtails right here, and it's just so simple just to run it through the scaffold and nothing's going to happen. Nothing can come out. And many people won't buy these because, you know, they're $1.35 a piece. And as I mentioned earlier, don't nickel and dime your business. Invest in it. And, you know, when things are safe, people work comfortable. On the very top, you can see the poles that are leaning into the wall. That's so that the scaffold can't rock. You know, so there's just little things that take a little more time that make all the difference in the world. All laminated boards.
Wow.
But the key issue is, you know, winter work, you have your heat, and you asked earlier on, can you work in the winter? You can work in the winter if you want. It's just a decision.
I've noticed I don't even need to have my gloves in here. It's like...
Well, no,
so
that's only set for 45. Yeah.
Yikes.
So in a little while, I'm going to turn it up, and I'll be working in my T-shirt.
Wow.
I mean, you can't work like this. It's just like working in your house, you know.
Wow.
And very, very nice to come to work on a cold day.
Yeah.
And it's nice and warm.
And it gives good privacy as well, like for the client and for your workmen as well.
Exactly.
Like, so, yeah, from away from the street.
Yeah.
Less distraction.
And the reason I use clear tarps is to let the light in. And I'm surprised if people use the blue tarps. Lets no light in whatsoever.
That's right.
You know,
that's
so
a good point. Wow.
You know, around 3 or 4, about 4 o'clock, it starts getting dark right now. And,
wow.
You know, you have to see what you're doing.
Exactly.
And you can just see how much air pressure is being pumped through that vent right now because the top is blown like an air balloon.
Yeah.
Like a bubble.
Wow.
It's an incredible
Never
apparatus.
seen anything like this in my life.
That's producing a 400,000 BTU.
Wow.
Which is very, very warm. And you can leave that outside.
Yeah.
It takes on all weather elements.
Right.
And just relieves the stress of heating.
That's great.
It's a Cadillac of all heating systems.
That's good. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Don.
And I'll show you
Sure.
the before process. You can see how recessed the mortar joints are.
Wow.
All of that has been cut out.
Okay.
And then if you step to the side and we'll go to the top right, you'll see how it's been done.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get an angle on it. You might be able to see it. Yeah, you can see how the top right corner is done right from here. So you can see the completion.
Oh, wow.
Very slow, tedious stuff. But when it's done right, it looks beautiful.
Yes.
You know, that's what I enjoy in it. You know, well, you can come by here in about 20 or 30 years and take a look at what you've done, and it'll still be there.
That's the sign of good quality work, huh?
That's it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do it once. There's
Do
no
it
money
once.
when you have to come back.
There you go. Do it once, do it right.
No money coming back.
That's very inspiring. Awesome. Here, how's Donovan Masonry? Anything like that?
Honestly, I'm pretty new to the trade myself. I've just been assisting Donovan with his work and helping him with stuff that he needs. But
Okay.
it's very interesting in terms of like the quality of the work and what goes into it being done. Just
Yeah.
because most people look at a brick house or a brick building and just think, oh, okay, yeah, like it's put together with bricks and mortar. But
Yeah.
the amount of steps and all sorts of little ins and outs and tricks and all sorts of, I mean, especially the safety, like the
Aspect.
dangers that come along with it, and then the safety aspect. It's
Yeah.
very, there's a lot that goes into it that I can see as to why not a lot of people dedicate their time becoming bricklayers, but it's definitely rewarding if you take the time to do it.